Question 22 is quite a tricky question. We're given a function f of x, and we're given g of x, and we're only given pictures, and it wants us to pick the best picture for g of negative f of x. There are a lot of traps here to fall into, so we'll try to carefully eliminate each option until we get to the right answer. A lot of traps to look out for. First thing to do is to recognize that we're given a graph f of x here. Now we're interested in negative f of x. So let's do a sketch of negative f of x on this same graph. So that's a reflection in the x-axis. It's going to look like this. A reflection in the x-axis is going to look something like, let's move that up a bit. It's going to look something like that. So that's negative f of x. Okay. Now we want to know what g of negative f of x is. First thing to recognize is that this is a positive quantity. So no matter what, as confusing as it is, because there's a negative sign out the front, negative f of x, this here is always going to be a positive quantity because we're above the x-axis. So no matter what, we're dealing with a positive quantity. Whenever g of x gets an input, whenever its argument is positive, we're guaranteed a positive quantity as well. Because look, for all positive x values of g of x, we get positive y values. So any positive inputs to g of x are going to give positive outputs, and negative f of x is always positive. So these options where we're always negative don't work. We know that g of negative f of x is always positive. Now we're left with three options. So we've got this symmetrical case. We've got one that's skewed in one direction and another option that's skewed in the other direction. How can we pick the best one? Now you might be tempted to look here and go, right, okay, it's skewed closer to the y-axis here than it is up here. So you might think it's one of those. Well, not quite, because we're actually only concerned with this part of the curve. We're only concerned with this section here. The reason being, once again, negative f of x is a positive quantity. So we're only inputting positive values into g of x, into that function. So we're only going to get these positive y values, but we're only concerned with this part. We're never going to look down here. So the answer here is actually B, because B is symmetrical. We expect it to be symmetrical. These positive y values here match these positive y values over here. The y values here match the y values here. They're the same. Those y values go into g of x as the input. So we are only concerned with this part of g of x, which means g of negative f of x must be the symmetrical option. So we can cross out these two. So our answer for this one is B.